with Juan, and today we got Chrissy here with us.
Hey, Chrissy, how's it going?
Good. I thought we were going to play our intro.
We are going to play our intro.
I'm doing great. I'm so excited to be back here with Juan.
All right, well, then let's start it. And we're back. I have to figure out which button. Oh, that's the button.
That's what she said.
Uh-oh.
Come on, we have to lighten the mood a little bit.
How was your day today, Juan?
Good, yours?
We have to keep it,
Light,
rated G.
I mean,
Yeah.
seriously, how many times do you come home and the wife asks you, how was work today? Do they still do that?
Mine does.
Well,
Really?
Mine does too.
Do they actually listen when you talk about it?
Sometimes.
Like, how do you know if it's really processing or not?
I don't. Sometimes I just act like a little baby and be like, oh, see,
Yeah.
you walk away from me. I'm still listening. How can you listen when you're on the other side of the house? Yeah.
Exactly.
This is why I'm not married and I like being single. But hey, at least you guys have free dinners made free and stuff like that. And,
We work for it.
You,
Yeah.
That's
It
true.
costs a lot.
That's true. It costs
Still
a lot.
costs a lot.
Yeah, we work for it. Well, we're here. Let me check and make sure things are going. You guys go ahead and chat for a second.
I wanted to have this conversation, but I don't know how to say it. Today I was driving here and I saw a Tesla truck, and I see Cybertrucks all over the place. And I don't know what's wrong with me, but I just wanted to scream douchebag out the window. And I don't know if it's the car, the look of it. I don't know what it is.
I think it's just the Tesla emblem makes you want to do it.
Okay. So it's not just me.
No.
Okay.
I mean,
the people that
listen,
drive the cars are
yes,
worse.
Yes, but
Okay.
I've yet to run into a Tesla Cybertruck owner that's being one of the other Tesla drivers, cutting you off,
I'm not
riding
gonna.
your bumper.
Okay, let me clarify this. I'm not gonna say who's driving the car. It's just a car look. I don't know. There's something about it that I just am like, when you go down south and you see them all over the place and they're driving around and you're just like, what the heck, douchebag. And you just want to say it's just a car. I don't know what it is. I don't know. Maybe it's just.
I think it's just the whole thing that it's a battery.
Is a battery?
Yeah.
A friend of mine calls them soulless
Yeah.
because they have no engine.
I don't know. Is there any other cars that you look at that somebody drives and you're just like, asshole?
Nissans.
Nissan?
Nissan is no different from a tank or a missile flying down a highway. Think about that.
Really?
Think about next time you're driving on the highway,
been in some Nissans.
how many Nissans are blowing past you? You could be doing 80 to 90. How many Nissans are blowing past you at 100 miles an hour?
I've driven some Nissans and I actually like them.
They're not bad, but most people, majority that drive them, look at them. You see going down the highway.
So a Nissan, you feel the same way I do about.
Yep. I see a Nissan
Teslas.
coming, I just move over because that idiot's going to do something.
Yeah, I've never noticed that. I'm gonna have to start really paying attention to that.
Yeah, you'll see them. It's usually a Nissan Altima. It's always an Altima, really.
Really?
Think about it. When you go down the highway next time, you'll see.
Usually I see Hondas and
Yeah, but not like a Nissan. Nissan's just like blowing right past you.
the ones that get me are the Ford Fiestas that come in there, toot toot, and they're like so zooming up, and you're like, you're cool.
Or Prius, or like
Or
a Toyota
yeah.
Prius is always one of those two.
The Prius.
I think they're worse than the Teslas.
Really?
Yeah, because you could at least cut off a Tesla knowing it's not going to hit you because the automatic braking system will slam on the
What do you
brake.
That's right. That's right.
What do you guys think of the minivan moms? Because this is a topic I wanted to talk about so bad because I used to be so anti-minivan, and I went to Carolina before I got sick, and I had one for 2 weeks. It was a godsend.
So
With
you're
the-
talking soccer mom type
Soccer
minivan?
mom, and then it was so frowned upon for so long. But damn, the room in that thing and how much I had for my luggage, the kids loved it, and I'm like, I could become a minivan mom. I could become one of those moms. What do you think,
Well,
Juan?
I like them.
You do? Your wife doesn't?
No,
What,
she
okay,
doesn't.
so what does she not like about them?
Just that whole soccer mom thing. And I
Oh,
think
so it's just the vibe. It's not
just
even
the vibe.
vehicle
I think
anymore.
the vehicle too. She just doesn't like the vehicle.
I used to be that. I mean, I would love a Tahoe, but I also like some of these minivans of town and countries and stuff. They're really nice.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna
but
lie.
they're problematic.
Really?
Yeah.
Because it's a Toyota.
All-wheel drive
Or wait a minute, no.
or
Yeah.
Yeah, well, anything Chrysler really. It's not made the same anymore.
What's your favorite minivan brand? Make.
That's difficult.
Me and Will had this conversation. I'm going to see if you say what he
I
thought you were
want
going to say.
Just tell me what Will thought.
I want you to guess first because it's gonna make it better if he's right.
He might have said maybe a Honda Odyssey.
Oh my God! He nailed it on the head. He nailed
Now,
it on the head.
I would do a Honda Odyssey, but I wouldn't do like the typical.
Will, I hope you're listening to this right now.
I would not do the typical Honda Odyssey and go just buy one off the, right off the dealer. I'd go find like a late 90s, early 2000s and swap one of them.
Why Honda Odyssey?
I just like them.
You just like them.
And there's more you can do to those.
Oh,
like,
okay.
I like the Toyota Siennas.
So you need to pimp up the mom vehicle is what
Yeah,
it is.
I'd
Turn it up.
be that dad showing up to pick up my kids with a riced out Honda.
Oh my God,
Odyssey.
I would love if you got a minivan and brought it home and your wife saw that.
I would sit there, swap out that motor, put in like a K series,
Oh my God.
turbocharge it, and then you'd pull up. Nobody would suspect that thing.
So when you pull up and they're like, look at that douchebag.
I'd have that thing slammed, wheels on it, body kit, and then somebody pull up next to me, and then you're getting smoked by an 800 horsepower Honda Odyssey. You ain't gonna say nothing again.
And you'll be the cool dad. You would really be the cool dad at soccer practice when you left her, pulled
Yeah,
up with that
usually
thing.
now with my oldest now, and even with my middle son, when I go to pick them up from school, they're like, I have a little hatchback, so all the kids are like, look at that car. So now it like has an exost on it, so the
Oh my
kids
gosh.
are like,
All I
rev
can-
it.
All I can hear is that music, dee, 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 like that clown car.
Yeah,
Well, that's awesome. You're the cool dad at school, though.
I guess.
Your
I don't
ride,
know.
Pimp my ride.
My oldest son's friends think it's cool coming over the house because all the
How
stuff.
old is your oldest?
12.
You better enjoy it while you can because in a year from now, you ain't going to be cool no more.
Oh, they hate me already.
I don't know if they hate you.
My
it's just
youngest
that
tells me
they're
all the
like,
time he hates me.
Just drop me off down the block from school, Mom. I'll walk.
No, mine doesn't do that. Mine just, my oldest.
Because of the cool car.
Yeah, right?
But
He
he's
wants
not
to
into
show it off.
cars. He's not into cars whatsoever, from what I can gather.
What?
He
You
shows-
have to keep it in the family bloodline.
He shows no interest. Really.
How about your little one?
Leo does. He likes to destroy things though, so he'll come out. You got to watch. He'll pick up a hammer and go over the car and start hitting it.
Oh, how old is he?
7? Yeah, I think 7.
And
That's
he-
how old my
still,
daughter is.
yeah.
Yep, that age is very destructive. I'm not going
And
to hold you.
yeah, Luke is my middle son. Luke is 9.
Any interest in cars?
Yes.
Okay, good.
He's already claimed
I was
one of
going
the
to
cars
say,
in
if
the
you don't
garage.
keep it in the family bloodline, there's a problem there. We have an issue.
Yeah, no, he goes out in the garage. He goes, Dad, this one's mine, right? I'm like, you want one of these? He goes, yeah. He goes, well, Jay says he gets the gray one, so why can't I have the white one?
What about them working on garbage trucks?
No.
What?
I hope they choose something different.
Juan, how can you say that? It's in our blood.
I hope
That's in
they
our
choose
blood when you're
something
around that
different.
garbage truck. I mean, my favorite part of garbage was when we started the Palm Coast contract. It was like 2007 or something. And you got to see the 2-3 months of all of the drivers going out for the first day. It was like your babies went out.
Yeah.
And watching all of those trucks leave the yard and all of those guys at 5:30 in the morning. It was a day out. It was New Year's Day. Nobody could go out that night and party. Y'all had to be at work at 5 o'clock. The new contract started.
Yep.
And watching them go out and you're like, your little babies go out for the day and then they come back and then you hear about the accidents, the trucks breaking down, things going. But there's just something about it that's, I don't know, it's so cool when you get into it.
Yeah, but I want
Like
want
your
them to-
Transformers.
Yeah, I want them to do something different. I mean, if they choose to do it, fine, so be it. I'll support them, but rather
It
than
is a tough job.
yeah,
It is a lot of hours. People don't realize how many hours mechanics put into it.
yeah. I mean, you have most mechanics, depending on where you're going, are anywhere from 55 to 70 hours a week.
Oh yeah, easily in the garbage
and,
too.
I mean, if it's
Wow.
a small mom and pop place, you're looking at more than 80 hours.
Mm.
The bigger corporations are like now, hey, you have to have a life away from here. So they've gotten better where, but you're still pumping out 50 something hours a week.
Yeah, that's a long day. And well, you're away from your family too a
Yep.
lot. Yeah, you're like married to work.
Yeah.
Well,
What's your favorite
I
minivan?
am anyway.
I mean,
My
I know
fav-
we got a minivan in
I-
the house, but
I
He's got
I
his
have a
express-
van,
He's got
but
his express van.
I
yeah,
know.
my express.
I'm waiting for the ice cream to start being sold off the back of that thing.
No.
That's what I say.
The
about
paint's
my
falling
neighbor.
off it
I
though.
was gonna say, man, that van's lasted you a long time.
It's 300 and I think it's 352,000
I wouldn't
miles now.
consider that a soccer mom minivan though.
That's not a soccer mom. That's
That's
a
more like
Yeah.
the football team.
yeah. It's a work truck.
I think of more of we put all the employees in it. We're heading to go paint something or do some flooring or
Yeah.
Well, funny thing you say that. I had my roof replaced a couple years ago. The shingles on the roof replaced a couple years ago. And my thought was, since I'm in construction, that at the end of the day, I'd go up on my roof and see how they're doing and whatever kind of thing. So just before I leave in the morning, a van just like mine
Pulls up.
and the first guy gets out.
And then there's six
And
more.
then, no, it was like a dozen guys.
told
It just
you.
kept going and going and
They
going
come
and
from
going.
Orlando. I used to work for a roofing company, and they came
Yeah.
from Orlando, that crew, and they were there. And then at 12 o'clock, their wives would bring them food from Orlando, and they would come in like a car with like 9 women, and they would come out and give the guys all their food, and they go back to work. And
Well,
give
I
their
don't know,
husbands-
because when I got home at the end of the
that's some
day,
true love right there, Juan. And did your wife come bring you lunch?
No.
Nah, I didn't think so.
when I got home at the end of the day, the roof was done. Wasn't done right, but it was done. I had to make them tear it off and do it again, but that's a different story.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah, they had a bunch. I just got my roof done last year.
They
And
come in like 6 or 7. A
They
crew at
they
least.
had like 10 guys on my roof.
Really?
Yeah, that's what that. Yeah,
Within an hour or two, they had it all ripped apart, and then literally they disappeared, and they only had a few left. It's like they go to tear it apart, and then they move on to the next house. They like a crew of them. And they go
Yeah.
to the next house.
yeah. Well, the guys that did my house, yeah, they
I give
Didn't
them props.
replace
This
the
heat
flashing.
Sucks.
and so the first time we had rain,
Oh,
and
yeah,
so
thanks.
they had passed the inspections, but the inspectors don't go on the roofs.
No.
So when I started getting this massive amount of leaks coming through, I kind of blew my top a little bit. Called the roofing company. May have used some colorful language. Got them out there in the middle of the rain. They stopped
I'm
some of the
guessing the
leaks.
odor didn't come out in a Tesla.
No, they don't run in the rain.
No, I know.
But yeah, I got the inspector to come back. I got the city inspector to come back. Got him to go up on the roof. He failed the roof. The entire roof had to be stripped and done again.
Dang.
So, not by that guy though. I got a different guy. That guy did it for free.
Yeah, my flashing. There was a couple of spots I had to call them back. It was crazy because I didn't think the inspector would come, and then when I'm looking at the paperwork, I'm like, wait, they did come, and I
They
had
never
huge gaps on the
They
side.
they never.
And I
came.
was like, hey, I said, you guys got to come fix this. I showed them pictures. I could see the plywood, like through. I'm like, hey, I can see right there to the overhang of the roof. Like,
Yeah.
I can physically see it.
Well, if no one's actually telling these people what to do, and if they're making mistakes, they're just keep redoing it
Yeah.
every time they go to a job, and that's probably the boss's fault or whoever is running that company, obviously.
Well, the boss is just. Well, in this particular instance, with that particular company that I had, the boss was just interested in the check.
Oh, they all are.
Get it done, get the check, get on to the next one. Unfortunately for him, I knew what was going on
Yeah.
and stopped it. But
Wow.
at any rate, that's not a mechanic
yeah,
conversation.
yeah.
So, what was your favorite minivan?
I don't
Minivan.
have a favorite. I've
The way does it look? You like one the way it looks, particularly more than the other one? Are you a Tesla man too?
how'd you know? I like Tesla trucks.
Makes
I'm gonna
it,
keep my
it
comment
looks
to
like a
myself.
giant Hot Wheels truck. You just sit
I was
there.
just gonna say.
Yeah, no, I don't like Tesla trucks.
No.
I've never even thought about what minivan I might like. Never given it a thought.
Huh.
I don't know. I'm not a mom, so
I drove around that town and country like it was the best thing in the world, and it really was. And I can't believe I'm sitting here saying that.
I like
feel like I just
I like
walked
being
like
up in the
outside, but-
air. I don't
Yeah.
like being down on the ground in a car.
No, me
but
either.
but-
I love the Tahoes. That's like my favorite. If I could even pick that over an Escalade, I so would.
Yeah,
I don't know.
choose
There's
the
just something
Tahoe over
about
the
it.
Escalade.
There's something about it.
yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
I drove one for a few years and I absolutely loved it. I wish I could have that back.
Now I think somebody should take a Tesla and put a real motor in it.
They have. I think there's people already on YouTube that have done it.
Have they done
Oh
that?
yeah,
Really?
put a diesel in them.
That's awesome.
Yeah, then make it into an actual vehicle.
Then
I
I,
mean-
wouldn't think how I feel about when I see one. If I knew it was diesel, I'd feel a little
They've
differently
done the
about
same thing
that.
with the Teslas.
I
They
wouldn't
put
call
in
them a.
The Tesla
cars.
car?
Yep, they've done the same thing. Yanked them out, putting Hellcat motors in them.
Oh my gosh, that's so cool. We got to post that on our page. I've never seen those.
Yeah, we have to find some.
Yeah.
That'd be cool. Well, I saw a Tesla truck. I think it was online. They're now wrapping them. They're putting wraps on them, and because they look
Like the one
awful
they
to
gave
start
Trump?
with. So they're
Oh my god.
yeah.
Did you see that one that Elon gifted Trump? I would take. I would return it. It literally was wrapped in red, white Trump attire. It's the funniest thing, and it was his presidential election after post
Right.
win. I would have returned it. I would have said, "I love you, Elon, but this has got to go."
You can't return it.
Oh man, I don't.
But
know.
the wraps, the one I saw, it was all rusted out. You know, it was
Mhm.
like a big rust heap kind of wrap.
That's
So
actually kind of cool, like a mater.
yeah, it made it look like a beater. Exactly,
Yeah.
$100,000 beater.
I saw
Oh
a
my
blacked out one the other day going down on 95.
A blacked out one.
Yep. I mean, it was a
This
wrap.
one
And it was,
Over here today that I saw was chameleon color.
oh, okay.
I've never seen one of those, but it was
It
like
must have been a
purple
wrap.
chameleon.
Yeah.
Must have been a wrap.
Yeah.
How much is it to wrap one of those?
It probably depends, but most figure you're spending like $5,000 to $8,000 to wrap a
Well,
car.
that's not that bad.
If you can afford the
I
car.
was gonna
Yeah.
say, if you're gonna afford the car, you might as well get it, done like you want it to.
Yeah, why not?
I don't know. I just wanted to share that because I didn't know if anyone else thought that. And I mean, like even being a single woman, if a guy showed up with that, I'd be like, I'm leaving. I gotta go.
Well, he's got a full wallet.
I'm going
Yeah.
home. That doesn't. I don't know. I'd rather him show up with a big truck.
Oh yeah, I can understand.
Hands dirty, mechanic kind of like, like
An
he
actual
actually
man?
works. Yeah.
My
Exactly.
my wife calls those other guy. What does she call them?
You got the
Milk toast.
You got those with
Milk
pencil
toast.
pushers.
Yeah, she calls them milk toast.
Yeah, you actually want a man who looks like he's been at work.
Yeah.
And he actually.
Well, I'm not interested in men, so
Well, I would hope not. Your wife would be upset.
yeah. So would I.
Wansp over here pleading the fifth. God, don't ask me.
Don't ask me. I'm good.
So what'd you work on this week? Anything interesting?
Had quite a few things interesting.
Oh.
This week.
Wow, they sound so thrilling.
It's not.
Well, last
because
week he
it
didn't
just-
have anything.
Now this week it just makes me question why I do what I do sometimes.
Oh, we're going back to the garbage trucks that I
Yeah.
love.
Yeah, that's where we're headed.
It's just you got guys that you think have some common sense, and then
How's the new employee doing that you said was amazing?
awesome,
Oh yeah, you said that.
Oh, he's still hanging in there.
still hanging in there.
Oh, I'm
I
going to lose
actually-
that bet. I'm going to lose that.
I actually just submitted his paperwork to get his pay increased.
Oh, that's.
So
I'm glad to hear that because that doesn't happen very often.
no, it doesn't. I talked to my boss too about it because I emailed him. I said, it'll probably be a couple days, and he actually responded and was like, hey, give me a few days, and then he sent me another email, so I had to talk to him and just explain some things further in detail. So we still got
So you
to
have
go.
another few that are incompetent, I guess.
Not incompetent. Just sometimes you just wonder where their common sense is at the time.
It's this generation coming up. I'm telling you,
Well,
they're everywhere.
No, this is not. These are men my age or
kidding?
older.
Oh, I
Like,
can't help you with
I
that.
just you sit there and you're like, why did you do that? Like, what possessed you in your mind? Prime example. One tried to they were putting a motor in for me, and I'm like, they can't get the motor in. They finally get the motor just situated in the frame, and they're trying to get the transmission to go on to stab it onto the engine. Well, they're fighting it, can't get it. Meanwhile, the motor's not secured. So as they're trying to push the transmission on, the motor's doing this.
Oh no.
And then I leave that day. Come the next day, the guys go to me. Toast, did you hear what happened? What are you guys talking about? Oh, yeah, man. I'm not getting involved in this. You better go ask them. So I go over.
Shouldn't have left.
Yeah,
Come
no.
to the podcast.
Well, I left at 3:00, and I was like, "Hey guys, I have to go run to St. Augustine. I go to Ring Power and pick up parts." So I'm like, "I'll see you guys tomorrow," because I'm not turning around and driving all the way
Right.
back. I'm just gonna go home. So I'm looking. I'm like, "Why is the transmission on the ground?"
Oh.
And they're like, "Oh man, it fell."
Oh.
What do you mean it fell?
Does that come out of their pocket?
Well, it didn't break nothing.
Oh.
What happened was they had it on the tranny jack, and they're trying to get the stick in there, and the whole time he still has everything attached to the transmission, like the drive shaft and everything. So, and he's trying to push it forward. It's not going to go anywhere.
It's attached to the drive shaft.
The drive shaft is at different angles now because the transmission's come down. So it slipped out of place, and now it's just resting there on the floor on the transmission jack. And they're like, well, yeah, we can't get it up now. And then I'm looking, and what made it was like, I'm like, well, you're not going to get it in there when you got the front of the truck like 6 feet in the air. The transmission jack only goes so high. So I'm like, and then I'm like looking at the truck, and I'm like, and this is what made me like my mind blown. I'm like, how did you get the truck up this high? What do you mean? Well, you don't have lifts, and our AirPod jacks only go up so high.
Oh no.
So I'm looking, and I go and I look at the video, and I'm like, he's got it attached to the overhead crane.
He lifted the
He
truck up
lifted
with
the whole truck, front of the truck. And I'm like, hey, you know that crane has a weight limit. Yeah, it'll be fine. No, and they barely speak English, the one of them. So he's every time you talk to him, he's like, see.
You know they have a translator in your phone.
It
for
doesn't
that,
matter.
right?
I talk to him. I love the guy. Great, they're great guys. But sometimes you just sit there and you're like,
I guess we have to brush up on your Spanish.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So I just sit there and I'm just like, so now I have to actually physically go out every like half an hour to an hour because I could give them instructions. The one speaks perfect English. The other one will tell you actually translate to him. Yeah. I know. I got it. And the one will go off to do something else he's supposed to do, and then I'll come out, and I'm like, what are you doing? Stop it! Why? I know I got it. I'm like, no, that's the opposite of what I told you to do.
The fact that he lifted it with the crane, that it's actually, I mean, he thought out of the box.
Yeah, I mean, it could pick it up, but still, I'm like, I go back and watch the video of it, and I'm just like, and then the best part is you see my other guys.
Watching him do
just
this.
watching, like you
Exactly.
see they stop what they're doing and they're looking, and everybody stopped and they're all like,
that's the best.
and they're looking at him, they're looking up, they're looking down,
They're like,
and they're
oh.
shaking their head, and then they go back with whatever they're doing on the truck, and I'm just like,
oh, the boss is gonna be pissed.
Yeah,
I can see their faces now.
just every time I come in, and so now they come in, they're like, hey,
Are you like that boss that shows up and they all scatter because they're like,
Yeah.
oh shit, he's in?
yeah, pretty much.
I love that.
Yeah.
One, I can't even see that because you're so nice. Like,
Well, the one guy told me yesterday that I was an a-hole, and that that I'm like our old boss who always yelled at him and screamed at him, and I'm looking at him, and I'm like,
you yell and scream?
that's just supposedly they say I yell and
Because
scream.
I look at you and I'm like, it must take a lot to get you
It
pissed
does.
off.
It does.
Yeah.
But by that point, I'm boiling. So they're like, "Oh, you yelled," and I'm looking at them. The other guys are all standing around, and they're like,
You're so laid back. I don't see you having a short fuse. I could see Alan getting pissed. Yeah. You don't
I'm
get
the
mad?
nicest guy I know.
Really?
No.
I was gonna say, would your wife agree with that?
Yeah, no,
I could never.
I keep it under control around her.
Well, you guys, you know what the other thing is? You're both bosses, so you have to have some sort of.
I have to walk away a lot of times lately. Like,
Yeah.
this.
You can't do that because that's why your stuff ends up on cranes and stuff.
Yeah. Well, it's still like, now you have to be careful what you say. So the guy's
Yeah,
like, "Oh,
that's
all you
true.
did is yell at me." I said, "Dude, I came out. I told you to." So what happened with the truck? At that point, I was just like, I said, "That's it. Get off the truck." He goes, "What do you mean? I'm reassigning you on something else."
Go home for the day.
I said, "You've been on this job too long. You and him." I said, "It's above your experience."
Mm-hmm.
I said, "Go help the guy out there. Go move some stuff around for right now till I figure out what I can put you on." So he goes, "Oh, you were yelling at me and screaming." I said, "Martin," I said, "I literally walked out to you and just said, you know what? Just get off the truck, go out there and do." "Oh, you," and everybody else in the shop. So the guys came in because they heard the conversation in the office because he was screaming at me, and they're like, "Dude, you didn't even yell at him. You literally, you could tell in your tone that you were angry with him, and you were like, just get off the truck and go outside and help them load up those trucks we sold."
That's a hard thing about management. You got to know when to.
Yeah. So I'm just sitting there afterwards, and I'm like, so then I start, he tried to turn it into like I was he was the victim, and I'm like, dude, I just pulled you in to talk to you. Like, you're the one who started calling me an a-hole and all this stuff. And I'm like, because I have an open door policy with my guys. I'm like, if you're mad about something,
Let's talk it out.
just come in. Don't do it out in the shop in front of everybody.
Yeah.
Come in the office. You can scream, yell, whatever you want. And say, I don't like how you told me to do this, or I don't like what this guy said. Don't do it out in the shop. Because if you do it out in the shop and other people see it, then, I have to do something about it. It's like, come in the office.
Right.
You can yell, scream. I got guys sometimes I have to tell them, hey, go take a walk. Because
your mechanics, do you separate them from like certain things, like certain jobs? Like you said, something
Yes.
is too experience. Okay, so you have the experience, and then you do like the light stuff.
yes, and some of my guys, they want to try, so I give them other stuff to try. They do good, and then I just have some that.
That's more like on the job training when you're a mechanic, right? I
Yep.
mean, you have to start getting in there to learn how to do it.
Yeah, and then I just got some that I only stick them on certain things. That's it, because I just can't, because
That's kind of like the roofers that Alan had the first time.
Yeah. Yeah.
They prime example. They told me, hey, yeah, everything looks good. They cleaned all the parts. They took off the old motor. I reassigned 2 other guys onto it. The one guy was done, and the other guy said, hey, can you take a break from that truck right now and just get this truck situated? So, like, yeah, they get it all in, and They come back to me. They're like, hey, that thing's got an oil leak. I said, what do you mean? It's a brand new engine. They're like, yeah, but not all the parts we had to put on that we had to take off the old motor to put on this one.
Oh boy.
So I'm like, well, what are you talking about? He goes, I can fix it though. I said, what is broke? He goes, oil pan's cracked.
Oh.
And I'm like, this guy had thoroughly cleaned it. And I'm like, I go look at it and I can see it clear as day that I can see light coming through this pan. So I'm like, all right. So I'm looking at it. I said, nah, I can't have you try. He's like, we'll just JB weld it. I said, no, because something happens. The thing gets a leak. They're going to be calling, yelling hey, that we put JB weld on the inside and outside of the pan. I said, it's aluminum. We can either try and weld it. So as we started trying to clean up the metal, it was worse. It's like this thing had been a problem before and somebody had JB welded. So it's just another added frustration because the guy's like, well, I don't understand what the problem is. I said, the problem is I have deadlines for stuff. And when you're behind on a project and you don't have any sense of urgency on it, and that was the main reason why I pulled them off. It's like, he didn't care. Anytime I said, hey, man, I really need to have this motor back together. We need to get this truck running by Wednesday. This is last week. I'm like, you know, I can't do this any longer on this truck. Well, then you find stuff like this.
Right.
And he's like, well, see, now it needs a pan. I'm like, you wouldn't need a pan. He said, it would have gotten the pan weeks ago when you had first took everything apart and said you cleaned it and looked at it. They're like, oh, I don't see what the problem is. I said, well, here's the problem. I said, that pan is $2,900.
Oh my gosh.
So now I have to call around, try and find it, or call my contacts. Like, listen, I purchased this much from you every year. I need a deal or something.
That's for an oil pan?
For an oil pan. I ended up getting the pan, I think, for like $1,900.
Dang.
Wow.
But it's still, you know, that's just another added cost. So now that's a 4 or 5 day delay just for that pan.
Yeah. I'm glad I'm not a mechanic now that I know why you're trying to tell yourself to do something different. Well, you know what it is? You get frustrated with cars and trucks because, I mean, you just want them to work, and when they don't work, it gets
get burnt
frustrating.
out.
You get burnt out of it, I'm sure, if you have to do that.
That's why I try not to do any side work anymore, or even people like, hey, you fix cars. I mean, I've had people, I'll be out in the driveway.
Well, it's not a hobby at that point.
Yeah, it's not. And I've had people literally stop at my house and be like, oh, man. I'm like, no, I'm not a mechanic. Oh, but you have tools. I said, yeah, I have tools. It's a hobby.
Yeah.
So, like, I had one guy just would not stop coming by.
Wow.
Finally, I said to him, I said, you see these two cars? He goes, yeah. I said, they don't run. You want me to fix your car? Yeah. I said, well, your car is going to end up like these two cars in my driveway. Don't run. And he's like, what? I said, yeah. I said, I'm going to break it. I do this for fun. So go ahead, bring your car over.
So you break them and you put them, you take them apart and put them back together.
Yeah, so I said, go ahead, bring your car over. Let's see how it works out.
We'll dismantle it.
And finally he stopped coming by. But I'm like, dude, just because I have stuff in my garage, I'm like, doesn't mean I want to do, you know.
I just want somebody with a hybrid to come by your house.
No.
And you were so
I've got
frustrated.
buddies that
you
have
were
them.
so frustrated.
Yeah, I have buddies that have them, and they're calling me, hey, I got these codes. I'm like, I'm not touching it. He goes, why not? I said, if you touch the wrong thing, I said, and all of it most time has to do with a battery and the batteries on it. I'm like, dude, I'm not touching them. Me and electricity do not get along.
I gotta find somebody with a Cybertruck to pull up to his house so he could just take it apart. I would love that.
Yeah. Good.
You're good?
I'm good. Not City of Palm Coast.
Oh my
They'd be
God.
showing up.
How are your cars that are not working left in the driveway that long?
There's tips. I can't say it because then they're gonna get wise to it.
Oh, okay.
But no, they're in the garage. They're in the garage now.
Oh, okay.
But you know, here's the thing: if they see a violation, they can step foot on your property.
Yeah.
If they don't see a violation, they can't step foot on your property to look at anything. They have to see something wrong, and that's what they do.
So if the car's parked in a driveway and it's not moving, but it's parked in your driveway, how is that a violation?
Because
they'll work on it.
You can work on it.
Well,
you can't leave it on jack stands.
Can't leave. Yeah, that's what I mean.
You got to, what a lot of people do, they leave their cars on jack stands, stripped. There's parts everywhere. That's what they don't want, which I'm fine with that.
The city was bad, but this is ridiculous.
Yep.
I've got a neighbor that I think he has a shop out of his garage, and he's constantly got cars up on different cars, up on jacks and everything.
Nobody says anything.
In my neighborhood, it's like
I don't bother my neighbors. I leave my neighbors. Leave me alone.
I think that's critical code. Like, you don't bother me, I won't bother you.
Exactly.
You do your thing. I mean, nobody in our neighborhood does anything
but
like that.
If they see, so what they'll do, if they think your car is not registered, because that's what it is. That's how they get you. They have to see and look at your plate to see if
unless
it's
you
registered.
tarp over it.
So either put a car cover. They're not allowed to remove the car cover because you can claim damage.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you can either put a car cover or park it, rear end in. But then if they see other violations, like if they get people like, I know that car's not registered. So in order for them to step foot, they have to say, oh, well, you got your trash can in front of your fence. Boom. Right there. They can come right over. Oh, look at that. There's no tag on this car. Boom. There's your next violation.
Yep.
That's how they get you.
Man.
So me, I now keep them in the garage just because I'm tired of having to make sure that the car cover doesn't blow
What
off.
section do you live in?
Our section.
Oh, okay. I live in the east, so we're not that far from each other.
So I'm just like,
Yeah, my neighbors don't care, but
most of my neighbors don't care. I have one that walks around and I know who he is.
Oh, the walkers. They're
And
the ones that go around going, oh.
they
he's
call
got-
the garbage company at 6:35 when the driver
Yeah.
doesn't show up.
He's got a notepad.
Yep.
Oh,
And
wow.
he literally goes around and writes everything he sees wrong in somebody's house. Like, so when I have the work truck, so he will literally write it down and call it in. And I laugh because
Well,
I guarantee
you know better than to have a work truck in the
Nah, I don't
driveway.
he calls
Like a
and will literally
billboard.
say he'll call the garbage company. And so now, it's FCC. And he calls and complains because I know he's called because he tells my neighbor across the street, yeah, I called FCC. And my neighbor's like, he doesn't even work for them. Good luck, whatever. But my thing is like my truck's not there in the morning. It's not there all day until, say 6, 7 o'clock at night.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, I'm not bothering. It's not an eyesore. Like this whole thing with it. And I think now they're lightening up on the commercial vehicles.
There's a lot of vehicles by me that are parked in the middle of the road, like
Yeah.
literally all over, and it's one way. You can only go around. It's like a loop.
Yep.
So they're out in the middle of the street. No one ever says anything, and we just do our thing.
Yeah. But,
Yeah.
now they're supposed to be lightening up on this commercial thing. So what I did with like my truck, I was just like,
That's a lie.
I said,
They're supposed to. They're,
Yeah.
they're actually meeting on it.
What do you mean? So they're not going to pay someone to go around and write tickets all day now? Is
Well,
that what
they'll,
it is?
they'll
Like
just find something else wrong. But
Yeah.
yeah,
but-
exactly. They'll just add another fee to our water bill.
Yeah.
yeah. Well, that's coming.
No, God,
Yeah.
it's been so bad.
Yeah, it's coming.
Yeah, so now they're supposed to change it and be like more lax on it. I think with but for mine, like my truck, I'm like, it doesn't have commercial plates. I'm like, all it said was Waste Pro in small letters on the door.
You're allowed 3 square. Now, does it have dual rear end?
No, single.
Not the one that
Single-
he drives.
So you're allowed 3 square feet of signage on every side of your vehicle,
Yep.
which is about the size of a car magnet.
Yeah.
Your Waste Pro truck, well, they usually have like the Waste Pro on it, but yours doesn't have that. Just on the
Now
road?
it doesn't. Now I just have like the regional stripes on it, just so that City of Palm Coast, because the truck I got it had damage. So Waste Pro now is really up on you're the company truck you're given, or even like for a truck a garbage truck, they're really on the image like, hey, this truck represents us when it's out there in the public.
Right.
So they don't want it with tacky, graphics on anymore,
Yeah.
things ripping off, or your half graphics or
Right.
damage. You're supposed to fix it. So I got the truck and we fixed it.
So you don't have any Trump stickers on your cars, what you're saying?
No, but I think your dad's trying to stick one on.
They have the magnet, so.
yeah.
That's right. You put the magnet on.
So mine is just now the little blue and green stripe,
Oh,
and I have
okay.
a little sticker on it that says Waste Pro on it. Just this way, just to make sure that when they come by, but it doesn't, and mine's just a pickup truck. So I'm like, this guy literally just comes by and makes
How many
notes.
miles are on that truck?
I got it. That one is pretty low.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So that Dodge has, I think I got only 83,000 miles on it.
How did you do that?
I can't say.
I was gonna
because the regional
say.
the regional gets mad about it that we have that's over another area.
Oh, boy.
All the
yeah,
time I
know.
message him
can
for something. I'll be like, hey man, he goes, what do you want, thief? So it was.
I could probably best, and I'm gonna keep it to myself, what area you're talking about.
Yeah.
But
So they were like, they had the truck, they wanted to put a service body, but
that's unheard of for
Yeah.
mechanic for them to be able to take
So-
trucks home with like that few miles.
Yeah.
Usually
So-
they get them when they're like grandfathered like 300,000 and
Yeah.
other transmissions in it, and yeah.
So it's just a regular pickup truck. They wanted to put a service body on it, but what it was going to cost to get a body for it and do it, they were just like it was better off for them just to buy them another service truck. So they got a new
Right.
service truck. So but they still wanted to try and put a service truck body on it. And my boss at the time, still my boss, he was like, hey, he goes, I bet you $20 right now I could piss off our big boss. And he goes, I'm like, really, how? And he walked over to him because he was there. We were going over stuff we had in the yard. And he goes, hey, when are you going to get one a truck? I mean, you could ask like the guys in the Daytona yard. I have my little hatchback, my little
Yeah.
Toyota Corolla.
The cool car
And-
that the kids like.
I've had an auto car radiator for one of the trucks with intercooler, with air charger and everything inside the hatch, inside the
Oh,
back,
wow.
and closed it. When I got there to Daytona, like, hey, like, where's my radiator? It sits in the car. They're like, that thing's like 5 foot tall, this wide. And they're like, that's not fitting in there. I said, hell, it ain't. I opened the hatch. I said, hey, get inside and help me carry this thing out because you ain't ripping out my seats. Drag this thing out. So, so he was like, so Dave, my boss was just like, all right, where's this truck you're talking about? And we're like, well, it doesn't have to be that one, but just something I said, I'm constantly having to hook up a trailer, borrow somebody's trailer, go and pick up parts because they get shipped to the wrong place or some of the vendors don't come up to where I'm at. So they drop it off in Sanford.
Right. So
I'm like, I can't, I have to constantly go and borrow somebody's truck. I was always borrowing you. Hey, Jimmy, can I borrow your truck and trailer? I got parts over in Sanford. I got to go get. So he was like, do you want that truck? I said, well, I asked if you want that truck. I said, well, yeah, I would like that truck.
Yeah.
So he's like, all right. He goes, all right. He goes, fine, it's your truck. I was like, all right, sweet. He goes, you better fix it because somebody had dropped like.
So their fleet's all mixed up now because it used to be just strictly Fords.
This is like one of the very few Dodges they have.
I was gonna say I've never seen a Dodge
because he didn't believe me when I said we have a Dodge.
Wow.
He goes, we don't have a Dodge in our fleet. I said, dude, we actually have a handful of Dodges. But
I absolutely love Dodge trucks. I'm not gonna lie.
Most of them have been in bad accidents, so we've tried to fix them. So but the problem is they're so costly to fix when they get into accidents. So it's not like a Ford
Dodge,
or Chevy.
Ford, Chevy.
Yeah. So they go. So this truck was there, and he goes, we don't have that. He goes, how many miles is on that thing? So I told him at the time it was only like 70,000 miles.
That's crazy.
And he goes, that truck has that little miles. He goes, so we looked at when we bought the truck to the time that to today's date, they maybe put 3,000 miles a year on this truck.
Wow.
Oh.
So it was just
you'll kill that in a month, so we're good.
Yeah, no. I try not to. So I try most of the time I
you gotta think about it. Jacksonville to Ponco, 60 miles each one way.
Yeah,
it's 120 miles a day just doing that, not including parts.
Most of the time I maybe use the truck. I take it home like maybe 3-4 times a week, but that's just because I have to either Daytona call, Putnam will call. Hey, you have this part? I'm like, yeah, I got one here. I'll take it off and I'll get it delivered to you guys.
You lucked out.
Yeah.
Guess what?
Time's up.
We've burnt up 36 minutes.
Well, I'm glad we cleared up the air here, and I feel a little more vindicated that I like minivans.
Yeah. Nobody called and made fun of you.
No, not yet. I'm sure it'll be coming next week. I'll make sure that I put this out there, and then we get some calls in. We'll talk about something really cool.
Yeah. Well, thanks again for coming down.
Yep, not a problem.
Appreciate it. All right. So, thank you, everybody. We'll talk to you later.